Many years ago, in the small riverside town of Oonoma, St. Matthew's Catholic Church, the only Catholic church in the community, sat gently by the mangrove edge. It was an old building with rusty zinc, two old statues of saints, and a choir that still used plastic chairs and handwritten hymn sheets. But the people were very devoted, especially the widows. They made up almost half of the congregation. Some had lost their husbands to boat accidents, some to illness, and others, well, they claimed it was spiritual attacks. Whatever the case, they were united, vibrant, and deeply involved in church affairs. They cooked for harvest, cleaned the chapel, and ran the women fellowship like military officers on a mission. And now a new priest was coming, one that they had never imagined. Their former priest, Father Clement, was now old and slow. He was always falling asleep during confession and smelling like rub. But nobody minded because Father Clement had been diligent in his mission for long. That was why when the bishop announced that a new priest would be posted from Port Harcourt, the entire town became curious. Who was he? How old? Was he strict? Could he sing? Did he have vision? However, they got their answers one Sunday morning. It was like a movie. A black Toyota Corolla drove slowly into the church compound and parked under the mango tree. From it stepped a tall, handsome man in a white priest cassock, dark shades, and fine brown shoes. His skin glowed like morning oil, and his jawline looked like it had been carved by angels. Someone from the choir whispered, "Oh my, oh my." His name was Reverend Father Tonte Bridge. He was fresh from seminary school in Rome, where he had been ordained just 2 years ago, and was said to be full of fire and passion for souls. The moment he walked into the church with a soft, "Good morning, children of God," the entire building went silent, except for the sound of several women dropping their fans in shock. Even Mama Ebiere, the 52-year-old chairlady of the widows group, who claimed her heart had dried up since her husband's death, blinked 3 times and whispered, "Blood of Jesus, this one is not ordinary." Father Tonte smiled warmly and took the microphone. "My people, I am here to serve. I came with peace and to manifest the power of God." People clapped and the women adjusted their wrappers. As the congregation moved outside after Mass, a few of the widows stayed back. One by one, they approached him for greetings, holding his hand slightly longer than necessary. "Father, you are welcome to Oonoma. If you ever need fresh fish soup, my compound is just behind the sacristy," said Mama Boma with a cute smile. "Father, God bless you," Mama Ibufuro said, as she leaned forward to hug him before he could react. "Oh, Father, you smell like blessing." Mama Ebiere came next, flashing a smile and shaking her big wrapper like a flag. "Father, I am the chairlady. If you need any help, physical or spiritual, don't hesitate to ask." Father Tonte was polite to them. He simply nodded and smiled, but deep inside, he felt a little bit of discomfort. And then, by evening, their phone messages started rolling in. "Father, do you like the food you were served? I made plantain porridge. Should I bring it over? I'm just checking on you, Father. I hope the fan in your room is not making too much noise. Father, I saw your light was off. Are you resting well?" The man had barely spent 24 hours, yet they were already choking him. Even the catechist Bros Alabo noticed and laughed to his wife. These widows will soon kill this man with kindness. Unknown to everyone, as the church had a new priest, so did the widows have a new project. And Reverend Father Tonte had no idea that his greatest test in the ministry was not going to come from demons or droughts, but from determined women in wrappers. By the second week of Reverend Father Tonte's posting to St. Matthew's Church, something strange was already happening. The widows of Oonoma had gone from spiritual warriors to romantic wrestlers. They began to compete like teenagers over a crush. The people of the town noticed the changes one after the other. Mama Boma, who had stopped using powder ever since her husband died 6 years ago, was now rubbing pancake every Sunday, thick one, and her cheeks looked like boiled egg yolk. Mama Ebiere, the one who was always shouting amen in her cracked voice, suddenly started greeting softly like a shy schoolgirl. "Good morning, Father," she would say as she batted her lashes like a mosquito. And as for Mama Ibifuro, that one went spiritual. She began claiming that Father Tonte appeared in her dream, smiling and quoting the book of Ruth to her. She even told the women fellowship that God said I should support the man of God in every way possible. They were all now on Operation Catch Father's Attention. They came with gifts. Every day, Father Tonte's table was full of surprise offerings. It was either a pot of native soup with fresh fish, delivered hot by Mama Ebiere, or a new wrapper and singlet with perfume spread inside from Mama Ibifuro, or a basket of oranges and sugarcane for strength from Mama Boma. They also began competing during Mass too. They fought for the front pews. Mama Boma once came by 5:30 a.m. for a 7 a.m. Mass to sit in the front row and placed her bag across 3 seats like a wicked uncle dragging his brother's land. And then, during offering time, they would dance like they were auditioning for a music video. Mama Ibifuro's waist nearly removed one day. Her wrapper shifted, but she was still shaking. Until one bright Sunday when the drama reached another level. After Mass, Father Tonte stood near the church entrance blessing people as they left. Suddenly, Mama Ebiere reached for his hand and said, "Father, I forgot to collect holy water. Can you bless me specially?" Before he could answer, Mama Boma jumped in. Me too, Father. My knees have been paining me since. Please lay hands on me. Then Mama Ibifuro pushed forward and said, "Father, my chest is heavy with worry. Please touch me and pray for me." Before anyone knew it, 3 grown women were struggling to hold Father's hands. The people outside the church gates were peeping and shaking their heads. See our widows, oh, they have moved from holiness to hooliganism. Father Tonte quickly pulled his hand and raised both palms. "Please calm down. Let us respect God's house." But the women were not about to back down. Behind the scenes, they started holding secret strategy meetings on how to win the priest's attention. "I will cook for him every Thursday," Mama Ebiere declared. "I will fast for 7 days and pray that his eyes become open," Mama Ibifuro said dramatically. "Fasting care," Mama Boma mocked. "You that can't do without fufu." The pressure was getting worse that they even began spying on each other. If one woman visited the parish house to deliver food, the other one would pass by mistake to see how long she stayed. Mama Ibifuro even paid one of the altar boys 500 naira to report how many minutes Father spent talking to each woman. In the middle of all this, poor Father Tonte was getting more confused by the day. He had planned to focus on youth programs, repair the leaking roof, and teach Bible classes, but instead, he was dodging love traps and surviving seductive offerings. One evening, he called his best friend and fellow priest, Father Kalio, on the phone. "My brother, I am under serious attack. Oh." "Serious attack? Is it spiritual?" Father Kalio asked. "No, widow attack." Father Kalio burst out laughing. "It is not their fault now. You are too fine for your own good." "This is not funny," Father Tonte replied. "They want to finish me with soup and sin." The widows were not slowing down. In fact, the competition was just getting hotter. By now, Oonoma had turned into a holy battlefield. The fine young priest was the trophy, and even though he didn't know it yet, things were about to get even worse because one of the widows was planning something scandalous. Before Father Tonte came, the widows used to wear simple gowns and head ties to the Tuesday Women Fellowship meetings. They came with notebooks, sang hymns off key, and read psalms like nursery rhymes. But now, every meeting had become a fashion show. Mama Ibifuro would arrive first, wearing tight lace that showed her shape. She would sit in front and cross her legs like a TV presenter, spraying perfume every 5 minutes like mosquito repellent. Then Mama Boma would stroll in, catwalking in high heels, with her handbag swinging like she was on a runway. She had even gotten used to wearing lashes, long ones that looked like ceiling fans. Not to be left out, Mama Ebiere began tying her wrapper so high that people thought she was trying to create extra cleavage with holy intention. And when Father Tonte came to give the opening prayer, all of them would suddenly become very emotional. "Oh, Father, your prayer touched my soul," Mama Boma would say. "I almost cried. You are really filled with the Spirit," Mama Ibifuro would add as she wiped her dry face with an handkerchief. And then, one Friday night, during the monthly night vigil, drama struck again. The church was filled, the prayer was hot, and the atmosphere was charged. Father Tonte was leading a powerful prayer session. "Every spirit of delay in your life, fall down and perish." People were shouting, clapping, and praying, and then suddenly, power! It was Mama Ibifuro. She screamed, staggered, and then collapsed flat on the ground, right in front of the altar. The prayer band rushed to carry her, and the church members stretched their necks. There was confusion everywhere. Father Tonte dropped the microphone and moved quickly. "Mama Ibifuro, are you okay?" Her eyes were closed. She was shaking gently and mumbling something no one could hear. "Spirit is moving," someone shouted. "Maybe she's having a vision," another one said. They placed her on a plastic chair and fanned her. After 10 minutes, she opened her eyes slowly. I saw a man in white," she whispered. Everyone gasped. "Was it an angel?" someone asked. Mama Ibifuro turned and looked straight at Father Tonte. "It was you, Father," she said. "You were glowing in white. He said, 'You are my destiny helper.'" The whole church went silent. Father Tonte smiled awkwardly. "Mama, please drink water. You'll be fine." Later that night, as Father Tonte sat alone in the parish house, he shook his head and said, "This is not ordinary, oh." By now, the widows were making him very uncomfortable. He could feel the tension every time they were around. He couldn't even go anywhere without one of them appearing, and he didn't know whether to pray or to run. One evening, 15-year-old Tamuno, one of the altar boys, knocked on Father Tonte's door. He looked nervous. "Father, I want to tell you something." "Go ahead, my son." "Yesterday, I was sweeping the sacristy when I heard Mama Boma talking to one woman. She said she will make sure the priest notices her by force, and that if he doesn't, she will do something that will scatter the church." Father Tonte sat upright. "Are you sure about this?" "Yes, Father. I even heard her say, we will see if the bishop will still clap for him after what is coming." Father Tonte's chest tightened. He had done nothing wrong. He had only been polite, respectful, and focused. But now, he could feel something heavy was coming. That Sunday, he preached a sermon titled "Flee from Temptation." Everyone thought he was talking to the youth, but the widows knew he was talking to them. Mama Boma tightened her lips. Mama Ebiere adjusted her head tie, while Mama Ibifuro smiled calmly, dangerously calmly. The war had entered the next stage. Reverend Father Tonte's birthday was coming up, but he didn't tell anyone because he just wanted a quiet day. No drama, no balloons, and no pepper soup parade. Just morning mass, some quiet Bible study, and sleep. That was all. But unfortunately for him, the widows of St. Matthew's had other plans. They had somehow found out about the date, most likely from the church secretary, who was bribed with 2 bottles of malt and a plate of coconut rice. Once they got the information, the women launched into Operation Surprise Father. Now, each widow wanted to outdo the other. Mama Ebiere planned a special early morning birthday breakfast delivery of boiled yam, pepper sauce, and freshly cooked catfish. Mama Boma ordered a custom birthday cake shaped like a Bible with icing that read, "You are God's favorite man." The cake even had a small edible priest figurine in the middle. But Mama Ibifuro had bigger plans. "Forget food. I will decorate the priest's room and surprise him before sunrise." Her neighbor was shocked. Before sunrise? Inside his bedroom? "I said what I said," Mama Ibifuro replied and smiled mischievously. On the eve of his birthday, Father Tonte was in the parish house chapel, praying alone. He had told the catechist not to disturb him the next morning. He just wanted to reflect. Meanwhile, outside in the shadows, Mama Ibifuro was crawling on all fours behind the parish house, carrying balloons, ribbons, and a plastic banner that said, "Happy birthday, man of God." She wore rubber slippers, a face cap, and carried a bag of decoration supplies like a birthday ninja. She reached the back door and unlocked it quietly, all thanks to a spare key she had borrowed from the kitchen boy. She got into the sitting room and began blowing balloons. By 11:48 p.m., the sitting room was decorated with red ribbons, fake flowers, and a big balloon arc that spelled out, "Love you, Father." Then she brought out a small Bluetooth speaker and started playing soft birthday music. She even sprayed air freshener to make the room smell romantic. After a job well done, she sat down on the priest's armchair, crossed her legs, and smiled. Let him come and see love. By 12:15 a.m., Father Tonte returned from the chapel. His eyes were half closed, and the only thing he was thinking of was Psalm 23 and his pillow. He opened the door and froze. There, in the middle of his sitting room, sat Mama Ibifuro, smiling like a Miss Nigeria contestant, with balloons floating around her head and love music playing softly. She stood slowly. "Happy birthday, Father. I just wanted to surprise you with some joy." Father Tonte stared like a statue. "Mama Ibifuro, how did you get in here?" "I used the back, but don't worry. I didn't enter your bedroom. I have boundaries." "Okay, I see." He looked around at the ridiculous scene: red and pink balloons, 2 plastic candles, and a cake that said, "From your secret angel." He took a deep breath. "I appreciate the thoughts, but this is not appropriate, ma. Please, kindly pack all this and leave now." Mama Ibifuro's smile disappeared. "Are you chasing me?" "No, I am asking for respect. This is not how we do things in the house of God." "But Father," he raised a hand, "please leave now." She gathered her things slowly, trying to fight back the tears forming in her eyes, and left through the back door. However, what Father Tonte didn't know was that someone had taken a photo. The church cleaner, Mama Felicia, had passed through the window while fetching water at the tap behind the house. She saw balloons. She saw the woman. She saw Father. And she took a picture. The next morning, that photo landed in 2 WhatsApp groups: Oonoma Women Prayer Chain and Catholic Gossip Warriors, a silent but deadly group. By noon, everyone had seen the picture. The caption read, "See our new priest and Mama Ibifuro doing midnight birthday party. God have mercy." Another version added emojis. "Just look, handsome priest plus midnight balloon equals to sin alert." The church exploded with whispers and side eyes. On Sunday morning, people came to church very early. Not for the gospel, but for drama. Some sat with wide eyes. Some pretended to cough so they could turn and stare, while some kept whispering behind their fans. Father Tonte stepped up to preach. He cleared his throat and said, "Today's message is titled, 'Do not bear false witness.'" Some people giggled, while others said, "Aha, he knows we know." The tension was thick. Even the altar boy dropped the collection bowl during offering. Father Tonte finished the mass and walked straight to his house. He was tired, hurt, but most importantly, he was done being silent. Later that day, the church secretary, Mr. Obulo, opened the offering box to count the donations. Inside the pile of envelopes, one stuck out like bad ogbono: white paper, no handwriting, no offering. It was an anonymous letter that read, "We have more proof. If Father Tonte does not resign, we will send everything to the bishop. Pictures, voice notes, and secrets. A priest should be holy, not handsome and loose. Watch your back." Mr. Obulo dropped the paper as if it had turned to fire. He ran straight to Father Tonte's office. Father, please read this. It was in the offering box." Father Tonte read it and sighed. "Lord, I have kept your commandments, but this temptation is becoming a whole Netflix series." Meanwhile, the so-called sisterhood of widowhood was breaking apart like cracked watermelon. Mama Ebiere was still angry that Mama Ibifuro entered the priest's house at midnight. Mama Ibifuro was angry that Mama Boma was now acting like Mary Magdalene with conscience. The parish parish was divided. Some believed the priest was innocent, while others whispered, "Why are only widows fainting in front of him? Even the single girls have not tried this." By the weekend, a brown envelope landed at the bishop's office in Port Harcourt. Inside was a printed copy of the birthday balloon photo, a flash drive containing fake voice recording manipulated by Mama Ebiere, and a letter that read, "This priest has brought disgrace to the church. Please remove him before things get worse. We are watching." The bishop, his lordship Bishop Goswill Ekie, was not quick to judge. He read the letter again. Then he said, "Let me visit Oonoma myself." When Father Tonte got the memo, he went to the chapel to pray. "Lord, I didn't come here to look fine. I came here to serve. But if my fine face is the problem, please use it to glorify yourself." While all this was happening, someone else had been watching everything. The parish altar boy Tamuno had been quietly recording videos. Why? Well, because 3 months earlier, Father Tonte had asked him to install a small camera in the parish sitting room after someone stole the offering bag one night. Nobody knew it was still active. And guess what? The camera had recorded everything, including the birthday balloon drama. Tamuno knew what he had. He just didn't know when to speak until the bishop arrived. The day the bishop arrived in Oonoma, the entire town was lively like market day during Christmas. People had been sweeping the church compound twice a day, planting flowers that had already died, and even repainting the church gates. The choir was practicing hymns as if they were auditioning for Nigeria's holiest voices. The bishop was not just a regular bishop. He was tall, dark-skinned, and with a walking stick he didn't need. But it made him look more spiritual. He didn't smile much, and when he said, "Peace be with you," even stubborn men would reply, "Also with you, His Grace." By 10 a.m., the bishop was seated inside the parish hall with the parish council, Catechist Alabo, the church secretary, and of course, Reverend Father Tonte. There were also 3 guests sitting in the back: Mama Ebiere, Mama Boma, and Mama Ibifuro. All 3 widows were dressed like saints on trial without makeup. The bishop cleared his throat. "I have heard troubling reports from this parish, and I didn't come here to judge by hearsay. I came to see for myself." Father Tonte stood up and spoke clearly. "My Lord, I have served with a clean heart. I have done nothing with any of these women. The photo was a misunderstanding, and the voice recording sent to your office was fake." "Do you have proof?" the bishop asked. Father Tonte looked down. "I did not until now." Just then, the back door opened and Tamuno, the altar boy, walked in carrying a small black bag. Everyone turned. "Good morning, His Grace. I have something to show." Tamuno opened his bag and brought out a small camera device and a flash drive. He connected it to the TV in the parish hall. 3 months ago, Father told me to install a CCTV camera in the sitting room after someone stole from the offering table. I kept the footage for safety. I didn't delete it. The TV came on and there it was. Mama Ibifuro sneaking into the priest's sitting room at midnight with balloons. Father Tonte walking in later, looking shocked and clearly angry. The entire birthday scene, including when she tried to hold his hand and him saying, "Please leave now, this is not right." Everyone was shocked. Tamuno clicked another clip. This time, it was Mama Boma and Mama Ibifuro arguing by the side of the parish building. "If he doesn't notice me, I will make sure he suffers. We will bring him down." The bishop leaned back slowly and said one word: Mama Ibifuro began to shake. It was just birthday fun, no. Mama Boma began to cry. I didn't mean any harm. While Mama Ebiere fainted. Real or fake, nobody knew. They sprinkled holy water on her. The bishop stood, looked at Father Tonte and placed a hand on his shoulder. You have been tested, my son, and you have passed. Father Tonte didn't cry, but his eyes were red. Your Grace, I only wanted to serve God, not to be dragged like this. The following Sunday, the bishop himself came to say the mass. He stood before the full congregation and said, "Let this be a lesson to all. The house of God is not a playground. Let us not mistake admiration for anointing. And let no woman ever make herself available as the tool of destruction for a man of God. Don't destroy what you can't create." The bishop then turned to the widows. "I forgive you, but from today, you are banned from visiting the parish house alone. All food deliveries must be done by the youth group. No more private prayers in the priest's office. Let holiness remain holy." They all nodded in shame. When it was time for Father Tonte to speak, he stood up slowly and said, "I forgive every person who lied against me. I forgive every person who doubted me. I am not angry. I am only grateful that God chose to defend me himself." After the mass, the bishop asked Mama Ebiere, Mama Boma, and Mama Ibifuro to step forward. Not sure whether to smile or cry, the bishop handed them the microphone and one by one they spoke. Mama Ebiere spoke first. "I was carried away by emotions and the man's beauty. Please forgive me." Mama Boma spoke next. "I only wanted to be helpful, but pride entered my help and turned it into lust. I am very sorry." Finally, Mama Ibifuro said, I made a big mistake. I thought I was fighting for love, but I ended up fighting God's will. Please forgive me." They all knelt down in front of the altar, and Father Tonte walked down, lifted each one up, and said softly, "I forgive you, but from today, let all affection return to God." After Father Tonte's vindication, people started seeing him differently. Before, it was just his handsomeness they talked about, but now it was his strength, his discipline, and how he didn't fall into temptation. And for the first time, the children could say, "I want to be a Reverend Father," without people laughing at them. As for Tamuno, the humble altar boy who saved the day, he was promoted to lead youth assistant, and he also received a scholarship from the bishop. Now that the drama had ended, Oonoma went back to being a peaceful and prayerful town. Father Tonte threw himself fully into his ministry, and people began to see the real change. He even launched 3 major projects within 3 months. As he stood in front of the parish one evening, thinking of everything he had been through in the past months, he sighed and said, "If I ever consider writing, my first book will be titled, How I Survived the Widows of Oonoma." Thank you for watching the story. One word I would leave you with is to serve God with a clean heart, and he will always defend your name, because when heaven fights for you, no one can win. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with us in the comment section. Give the story a thumbs up and share the story out with your loved ones. Subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye.